The very same leaf can be a deadly poison to one and a life-saving medicine to another. Nature has created thousands of healing plants, yet hidden among them are those capable of taking a life in an instant. Why is sphagnum so important for indigenous peoples? For indigenous peoples, this moss was not just a random plant, but a true lifesaver in the wild thanks to two unique properties. A natural antiseptic. Sphagnum cells contain a special substance called sphagnol, which is a powerful antimicrobial agent. It stops bacterial growth, prevents wounds from festering, and helps scratches heal without dangerous inflammation. Incredible absorbency. The structure of sphagnum is unique, featuring hollow, empty reservoir cells inside. Because of this, the moss can absorb a volume of liquid that exceeds its own dry weight by nearly 20 times. It functions perfectly as both sterile cotton and a bandage at the same time. The anatomy of sphagnum, the plant that defied roots. Imagine a plant that completely ignores the most basic rule of botany. It has absolutely no roots. No root system, not even the tiny hair-like rhizoids that other mosses use to cling to the earth. Instead, sphagnum is a biological rebel, absorbing water and vital minerals directly through every single millimeter of its body. The stem, erect and surprisingly soft. It plays a game of eternal life and death, continually growing upward at its tip, while its base slowly dies, decays, and compacts into peat. The branches. The stem is densely packed with branches which crowd together at the very top into a tight, fluffy head called a capitulum. The leaves. Tiny, scale-like, and microscopic, they wrap around the stem and branches like biological chainmail. The sphagnum life cycle, the ballistic cannon. The life of sphagnum is a dramatic alternation between two generations, dominated by the green plant we see in the woods. The gametophyte. The green kingdom, gametophyte. This is the lush moss carpet. At the tips of its branches, hidden reproductive organs mature. The male antheridia and female archegonia. The aquatic romance. Fertilization is entirely dependent on water. During heavy rain or thick morning dew, sperm cells literally swim through the water droplets to reach the egg. The spore cannon, sporophyte. Once fertilized, a tiny round capsule on a short stalk grows directly out of the top of the moss. Inside, millions of spores mature. The pyrotechnic blast. When hot, dry weather arrives, the capsule begins to shrink and dry out. Air pressure builds up inside until, pop! The lid flies off with an audible snap, and the spores are literally shot out into the wind like miniature cannonballs. The rebirth. Landing on damp soil, a spore germinates into a thin green thread, protonema, from which a brand new fluffy sphagnum stem rises. Battlefield medicine and modern pharmacy. Because it combines phenomenal fluid absorption with sterile antiseptic properties, sphagnum has been a lifesaver in military medicine for centuries. Emergency and military medicine. During World War I and World War II, sphagnum was officially harvested on a massive scale as a substitute for cotton wool and gauze dressings. Ultimate absorption. It draws in blood and pus significantly faster and more efficiently than standard cotton. The antimicrobial shield. Thanks to sphagnol, wounds under a sphagnum dressing were actively disinfected, saving countless soldiers from gangrene and sepsis in an era before widespread antibiotics. The breathing bandage. Even when completely saturated, the moss maintains airflow, allowing the wound to breathe and heal faster. The antimicrobial shield. Thanks to sphagnol, wounds under a sphagnum dressing were actively disinfected, saving countless soldiers from gangrene and sepsis in an era before widespread antibiotics. The breathing bandage. Even when completely saturated, the moss maintains airflow, allowing the wound to breathe and heal faster.